Hi all, in this video I'm going to talk about the essentials of a valid meeting. Basically the essentials for a valid meeting refers to the requisites or the conditions that must be satisfied for the meeting to be called valid. So therefore under the Companies Act of 1956 there are certain conditions which are laid down which have to be complied by the company when they are calling for a meeting of shareholders or the directors. So only when the conditions which are mentioned in the Companies Act of 1956 regarding the convening of a meeting are compiled with, then the meeting is called as a valid meeting. Now let's move further and look into the essentials of a valid meeting. Okay, generally the first essential for a valid meeting is that the meeting should be convened by a proper authority. Convened means called for or organized by a proper authority. So generally in the case of company's general meeting, the proper authority to convene the general meeting is the board of directors. Now the board of directors, before they decide on to call for a general meeting, they should first have a meeting of the directors of the company. So in the meeting of the board of directors, the directors will decide when the general meeting of the shareholders has to be held. The directors will also take decisions regarding the drafting of the notice, the issue of the notice to the shareholders. So once all these decisions have been arrived by in the board of directors meeting, then the board of directors will instruct the secretary to prepare the notice so that the notice can be sent to the shareholders for convening the annual general meeting. So, and only when the board of directors convene a meeting, then it is called as a valid meeting. Okay, but in certain circumstances, apart from the board of directors, there are other parties who can also call for a general meeting. The other parties are the requisitionists, the central government, and the company law board. Now, sometimes certain members may also request for convening a general meeting. So, these members are called as the requisitionists. So, whenever the members request for a meeting to be held, then the board of directors must look into the issue and convene the meeting within 21 days of the request being made by the requisitionist. Otherwise, the requisitionists themselves can convene a general meeting within 45 days of the day from the date of request. Okay. So further, if any default is made in the holding of the meeting of the company as per the provisions of the Companies Act, then the central, that is company law board, or the central government, they can also take necessary steps in order to convene a general meeting. Moving further to the next requisite for a meeting to be called as a valid meeting is the issue of a proper notice of the meeting. So notice basically contains the particulars relating to the kind of meeting, the date, place, time, and the meeting, a statement of business which is to be transacted at the meeting. So therefore, a notice is a letter of invitation or requesting the members to attend the meeting. Now the notice is generally drafted by the secretary, and once it is drafted by the secretary, it is again kept in the board of directors meeting. Only when the board of directors approve the notice, then the notice has to be sent to the shareholders. Now apart from that, the notice must be sent at least 21 days before the date of holding the meeting. Like supposing I am holding the meeting on 22nd of October, then the notice must be sent before 1st of October, so that 21 days is calculated right from that day. Okay, so we have the notice must be sent at least 21 days before the date of the meeting. Then apart from that, the company may serve notice on the members, either sending them personally through post, or general advertisement can be made in any of the leading newspapers. Further, every notice convening the meeting should state the place, day and time of the meeting to be held, and also must contain a statement of the business which is to be transacted, that means conducted at the meeting. Further, the meeting must be held in the same city or town where the registered office of the company is situated. Again, the meeting has to be held on a working day unless the company is a non-trading one. Okay, and the meeting must be held within the working hours unless otherwise members have agreed to it. And apart from that, the business which is transacted in the meeting is generally divided into two types. One is ordinary business and one is special business. Generally, ordinary business refers to the business which is generally conducted in every meeting. Like in every general meeting, we'll have the declaration of dividend to the shareholders. We'll have an annual report of the company. So this is called as an ordinary business, which is generally done in every meeting. Whereas a special business is of an extraordinary nature, which means only certain times, like take the example, the company is going into a merger. This is a special business. It doesn't happen in every general meeting. So such businesses which is not of non-recurrent nature is called as a special business. So whether whatever matters are discussed are to be discussed in the meeting, whether it is ordinary business or special business, must be mentioned in the notice. And along with the notice, a copy of the agenda should also be sent to the shareholders when the copy of the notice is sent. Agenda basically refers to the schedule of the events which are to be or the order in which the activities are to be conducted in the company meetings. Moving further, the next requisite of a general valid meeting is the agenda of the meeting. The word agenda means the program of business which is to be conducted at a meeting. So agenda also means the items to be discussed or the things to be done at a meeting. The preparation of the agenda is considered essential in order to conduct the business of the meeting systematically, and also to make sure that no important item of discussion is missed out. The items in the agenda should be arranged in a chronological order. Okay, and whatever chronological order you're following, mentioned while mentioning the items in the agenda, the same chronological order should be followed even on the meeting. Generally, the items of which are of should be mentioned in order of importance, but routine items like the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting and other things are placed first on the agenda. And each item on the agenda should be serially numbered. The next requisite for a valid meeting is quorum. A quorum is the minimum number of members which are required to attend a meeting and transact the business validly, which means that if the requisite minimum number of members are not present for the meeting, then the meeting will not be held. It will stand cancelled or adjourned. So unless it is provided in the articles of a company for a larger number, in the case of the public company, the quorum shall be 5 members should be present personally and 15 members should be present personally if the number of members as on the date of the meeting is more than 1000. So 5 members if the number 5 members should be present to constitute a quorum if the number of shareholders is less than 1000, and 15 members should be present personally if the number of members is more than 1000 but up to 5000, and 30 members must be present personally if the number of members as on the date of the meeting exceeds 5000. Further, if there is no quorum for within first half an hour of the scheduled time, like supposing the meeting is supposed to be started by 10 o'clock, so by 10:30, if the quorum or the minimum number of members is not present, then the meeting will stand adjourned to the same day in the next week and at the same time and place. Which means, like supposing I'm here holding the meeting on Monday, and if the quorum is not present on by 10:30 on Monday, then by the following Monday the meeting will stand adjourned till the following Monday at the same venue and at the same time. Further, since if the minimum number of members is not present, that is if the quorum is not present in a meeting, then in that case the meeting is also not valid, and any decision which is arrived at such an invalid meeting will also not be considered valid. Next, the next essential requisite for a valid meeting is the presence of a chairman for the meeting. A chairman is a person who has been designated or who has been elected to basically preside over and conduct the proceedings of the meeting. Generally, the promoters nominate the first chairman of the company, and the name of such first chairman of the company is mentioned in the articles. But if for some reason the promoters have not nominated the name of the or not elected the first chairman, then the directors in their first meeting after the incorporation of the company will elect one of the directors as the chairman of the company. And the articles of every company generally provide that the chairman should preside over the meetings of the directors and also the meetings of the shareholders. And basically every meeting should have a chairman in order to regulate the proceedings of the meeting and to make sure that the business is conducted in an orderly manner and as per the rules of the Companies Act of 1956. And a meeting is not considered valid unless it is presided over by the chairman. Now, if the quorum of is not present, then the meeting will stand adjourned, means cancelled to the next week at the same date, time and place. Similarly, the chairman of the original meeting will also become the chairman of the adjourned meeting, unless validly removed for some valid reason. The next essential requisite for a valid meeting is the minutes of a meeting. Every meeting must be minuted, which means the summary of every meeting must be made, and such a summary of every meeting is called as the minutes of a meeting. Generally, whenever at the beginning of the meetings of the company, whatever minutes of the previous meeting should be read. So basically, the minutes of the previous meeting is read in order to make the shareholders aware of what had happened in the previous meeting, and and also to make sure that if there is any matter which has been further continued for discussion in the current meeting, it can be discussed in the right manner. Generally, minutes are prepared by the secretary, and it should be signed within 30 days of the conclusion of the meeting by the chairman and the directors. And the minute books of the meeting must be kept at the registered office of the company, so that it can be open for inspection. And a copy of the minutes must also be submitted to the registrar. The next essential for a valid meeting is proxy. Any member entitled to attend and vote at any meeting can appoint another person as the proxy, so that in case they are not able to attend the meeting. A proxy is a person who is authorized by a member of the company to attend and vote on a meeting on behalf of the member. So basically, the proxy, the person who is elected as a proxy should may or may not be a member of the company, and if any member wants to appoint a proxy, then the same should be intimated to the company at least 48 hours before the before the meeting is to be held. So to inform the company, the proxy form should be submitted by the member to the company at least 48 hours before the meeting, and every member has a right to inspect the proxies within 24 hours before the time fixed for the meeting. And like I said, any person can be appointed as a proxy, whether the whether the person is a member of the company or not. And proxy forms, a person is considered as a proxy only when the proxy form is submitted in the meeting, and the proxy form must be duly written and signed by the appointer. Further, even a copy of the notice which is given to the members should make a mention that the members, if they are not able to attend a meeting, then they can appoint a proxy. Then next is a proxy is revocable. Revocable means it can be stopped, which means supposing I wanted to appoint a proxy and I've submitted a proxy form with the company, but on the day of the meeting of the, I'm able to make myself available at the meeting, then in that case I can revoke the proxy and I myself can personally attend the meeting. And a person who's appointed as a proxy cannot vote except by a poll. Means if there is any decision to be taken and the members are asked to show their hands, okay, of those who are in favor of the decision, in such cases the proxy cannot exercise or cannot take part in the decision. Whereas if a poll is demanded, a poll is where the decision is written in a secret piece of paper and nobody knows what decision has been made, then in such cases a proxy can vote. So a proxy cannot vote by show of hands. They can only vote on a poll. So these were basically some of the requisites for a valid meeting to be called as a valid meeting.